What do you think maybe the most important thing on this page could possibly be?
Find the sum.
No.
Use parentheses.
No.
But.
No. Actually, the word or. That's the most important thing on this page. Or. If you can remember or, you're going to be fine.
I was getting close.
No, of course. Watch out for sign changes. That's the most important thing in this section for sure. All right? By sign changes, I mean if I'm adding and then I'm subtracting, or anytime there's a negative sign involved anywhere, there's sign changes involved. Watch out for those. Those are the places where people make the most mistakes every single year. So I'm going to do my best to point those out to you so that hopefully you won't make those mistakes. All right, when adding or subtracting polynomials, just combine like terms like we were doing last time. But watch out for sign changes, because if you're dealing with negative signs, things happen. And you will get wrong answers if you're not paying attention. Use parentheses is also pretty important. By that I mean, if you have a plus sign in between the two polynomials that you're adding together, great, just combine like terms. But if you have a minus sign, if you're subtracting two polynomials, then use parentheses, because that minus sign is subtracting every term behind it. And you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. So there's lots of places to make mistakes, especially when subtracting. That's like the 5th time I've said that. Please be careful. Use parentheses. Find the sum. Notice right now, I just want to point this out to you. This is a polynomial right here. It has 3 terms, so that makes it a trinomial. This is a polynomial right here. It has 3 terms, which makes it a trinomial. What are we doing to those 2 polynomials? We're adding them. The sign in between the parentheses right there tells me that I'm adding those 2 polynomials together. So all I have to do, basically, is combine like terms. I have a 2x squared plus a negative 4x squared. What do I get? Negative 2x squared. I have a 5x plus a 6x. What does that give me? 11x. So plus 11x. And then I have a negative 7 plus a 3. What does that give me? Negative 4. Okay, so that's basically combining like terms. And notice how I did that. I went from the highest degree that I saw down to the lowest degree. The highest degree that I saw was this term right here, squared. I don't have a 3rd degree or a 4th degree, so I started with the square, and then I went down to the 1st degree term, and then I went down to the constant term, the 0 degree term. That way I wind up automatically in standard form. I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm already there. Okay? So that's how you should do these problems. Now, on this one, what am I doing to these 2 polynomials? I'm adding them because of the plus sign in between. What degree should I start with? The squared, yeah. So I have a 5x squared here, but a negative 3x squared here, and that's right, I get a what? A 2x squared. Now what? You're right. So it's positive 3x, and then plus 1. It's a positive 4 plus a negative 3, which gives me a positive 1 as my result. Do I have any other like terms to combine in this one? Nope, that's as far as I can go, so that's my answer. All right, I'd like to see if you can do that last one. It is a little bit more complicated than the 2 that we've done, but if you're paying attention, you should be able to do them. Go ahead. Where should we start? Yeah, we got this y to the 4th here and this negative 2y to the 4th here. Those are like terms, and I'm adding these 2 polynomials together. I know that I'm adding them because of this plus sign in between. So when I combine those, what do I get? negative 1 y to the fourth, or just negative y to the fourth. What's my next term going to be? No. Right. Remember, I want to go in descending order now. We have a fourth degree here, so now I'm going to go back into my whole problem here and look for a third degree term. And I have one sitting right here, that 2y to the third. Is there anything to combine it with? No, there's not. So it's just going to stay plus 2y to the third. What's my next term going to be that I'm looking for? I'd actually be looking for the y squared term. I'd look for a 2 in the exponent. But if I look through here, I don't have any, so that's fine. I can just skip and go down to the first degree term. Yep. So I have a negative 3y here, a positive 2y here, and that's it. So what do I get when I combine those? Negative y. All that's left now is my constant term, or my 0 degree term. I have a 7 plus negative 11, which is negative 4. So I write minus 4. By doing that, I automatically put this in standard form, and then I don't have to worry about putting it in standard form afterwards. You always want to write your answers in standard form. So those three problems were all addition of polynomials. Now we're going to switch into subtraction of polynomials. This is where sign changes really, really are important to watch out for. Notice that we again have two polynomials here. Here's one of them. Got a trinomial sitting there and another trinomial sitting there. And what am I doing to those two trinomials? I'm subtracting them. Outside or in between the parentheses, I have that minus sign sitting there. That complicates things. You need to be very careful when you're subtracting your polynomials. So here's what I'm going to recommend you do. I'm not even going to show you how to do this any other way but this. I'm going to clear that stuff off of there so that I'm not confusing you. Do you remember back in August when we learned how to add and subtract integers, and we had something like 3 minus 10? Yeah, it's negative 7. But what did we do when we were dealing with subtraction? We added. We changed the subtraction to addition. So we did keep, change, change. Right? Because it's easier to understand 3 plus negative 10 for most people when they're first starting out than it is to try to think of 3 minus 10. It's kind of tough. Or if we had a problem like 2 minus negative 6, what did we do there? Keep, change, change again. We turn the subtraction into addition and then change the sign of the next number. That's what keep, change, change means. And then it becomes 2 plus 6, which of course is 8. Okay? We're using the same idea here. We're going to turn that subtraction into addition because we understand how to work with addition. But instead of keep, change, change, when you're dealing with a bunch of terms in parentheses, when I turn that into addition, I have to keep, change, and then I say change everything. So we're going to change the signs of every one of these terms. Keep, change, change everything. And now we can just add like we were doing on the last page, because addition is a lot easier than subtraction. It's a lot less confusing. So now that I've done keep, change, change everything, I start with the highest term, highest degree term. That would be the x squared. I have a 2x squared plus a negative 3x squared for a total of negative 1x squared, or just negative x squared. And then I go to the x term. I have negative 2x plus negative 4x, which is negative 6x. And then I go to the constant term, 3 plus, that's a positive 5 now, so plus 8. And that's the answer. If you do keep, change, and then change everything, you should be able to handle a problem that looks like that. So, talk me through the next one. What should we do? We are subtracting in between, so we're going to do a keep, change, change everything. Plus, and then change that to minus, change that to negative, change that to plus. Now what? What's the highest degree here? To the third, right. Is there anything to combine to the third power with? No. No. So this term right here just comes down. 4p to the third. What's next? The second degree terms. Are there any second degree terms? Right. That one right there is second degree. And it doesn't have anything to combine with, so it's a negative 3p squared. Now what? Good. 7p plus, that's now a positive 9p for a total of, so plus 16p, that's right. And then we're down to our constant term. That is a negative 8 plus a negative 2 now, which gives us minus 10, that's right. So that makes the problem a lot easier. Watch out for sign changes. Take care of the sign changes first and then use addition, because that's easier to work with than subtraction is. So go ahead and try that last one. Do it the same way. So what do we do? Keep, change everything. So I'm going to do what? Change the minus in between to a plus, and then? Negative 7 plus 3, y to the third. Okay, now what? The third degree term is just y to the third. Yeah, this is the only y squared term, so plus 5y squared. Okay. That's an 8y plus a negative 12y, which is negative 4y. And then finally, that's a negative 10 plus a negative 7, which is minus 17. And that is the correct answer. Like I said before, if you want, you can cross terms off. Like after we wrote down the y to the third, you can just put a little line through it. I don't recommend scribbling it out, because if you make a mistake, you'll never see it, and then you'll try to erase it, and you'll just erase everything on the page, and then you won't see it at all anymore. So if this is a quiz or something, and you want to cross something off, just put a little line through it to make sure that you know that it's gone without scribbling it out. And then as you work through and use terms, you can cross them off. But that is the answer. And that is it for the section. So you can do the rest of the assignment now, and we'll make that due the next time we meet.